In 2022, I tried a large amount of guitars, everything from $300 to $4,000 and beyond, made overseas, made in the US, and through all of those different guitars, this one, the Bob Ware Premier Signature model made by D'Angelico, has been one of my absolute favorites. So we have a lot to do in this video. I'm going to tell you every single thing about this guitar, some of the mods I made on it, and then we're going to change up the camera angles and I'm going to show you the rest of the D'Angelico line because I believe they're doing something absolutely amazing for guitar players. And just so you know, this video is definitely not sponsored. I've never met anyone at all from D'Angelico. In fact, I'm even saying the name wrong because I don't speak Italian.
D'Angelico.
That being said, D'Angelico is a New York-based company, or at least historically they were, and I live right outside of New York City, right over the Hudson River. So if one day there is an Andre Flood D'Angelico signature model, I think we should either call it the Hudson or the Jersey. Let's get started with this review, starting from the headstock. And I know that right away some people are going to think that this headstock design is just too much. I think some might even say it's a little bit gaudy. And if you think that this headstock is a little bit much, you're going to be completely surprised when you see the other headstock from this guitar company that I'm going to show you a little bit later. But point being, it's a very, very unique, classic D'Angelico design. And even on the headstock itself, the logo and the Premier aspect of the logo is iridescent, so it looks absolutely beautiful. Even the truss rod cover is unique. I believe that's supposed to be the Empire State Building, but I could be wrong about that. And if you get a guitar that has gold hardware, the truss rod cover comes in gold, so that's really, really cool. A lot of these different D'Angelico guitars have two variations. There's the Premier, and then there's the Deluxe. And so on the Premier model, they usually have standard tuners like these, and the Deluxe model usually have locking versions of these tuners. That being said, I did upgrade the standard ones to the locking versions, so these do not come stock, but it's an easy replacement. They were about 80 bucks and you can do that if you like, but even the stock tuners were fine. I just got the locking ones because I figured, I'm gonna make this guitar my own. Might as well throw in a couple bucks and get locking tuners on it since I like them and they're a little bit faster for me. Now, I'm not someone who has ever cared about the looks of the guitar. I've never cared about fancy paint jobs. I never cared about fancy tuners, but I have to say, this guitar has changed me in that regard. These tuners, this design, it just feels special even when you're tuning the guitar. Yes, they work great and all of that stuff, but just the small experience of putting your finger on the tuning peg and twisting it, it feels special because of the design. And I never thought that I would be saying that in a guitar review, but it has mattered to me. Tuning this guitar is more fun than tuning any other guitar. And to be completely honest, I don't have to tune it that much anyway, but there's a small detail that I really enjoy. The nut width itself is 1 11/16, and I have always preferred this nut width. I have larger hands, and really, if I can get a guitar with 1 3/4 nut, I love that even more. But for an electric guitar, this is pretty wide. It's a lot wider than my standard favorite guitar, my Parker Nightfly. Full review on that guitar right up here if you're interested. And so coming to this new nut width has been really enjoyable for me. And to be completely honest, is making it a little bit harder for me to play my number one guitar because I prefer this nut width a lot more. The nut that comes with the guitar is fine, no issues there. And then we get to, of course, the neck. And when it comes to this neck, we have a lot to talk about. Just in terms of the way the neck is finished, it has a beautiful binding that goes up and down the entire neck and around the headstock. And it's a double binding, so we have this nice wedge of black, and then cream on the top as well. And it is done so incredibly well. And again, I'm someone who has never cared about the looks of the guitar, but I'm playing guitar. When I look down from the corner of my eye and see that binding, it is just nice. It feels like something special. It feels like the experience of playing this guitar is special because of that small detail, just like the detail of the tuners. Now the fretboard is of course rosewood, and we have these very nice large block inlays, and they look great. In fact, I would say they look amazing, but I have seen what the more expensive version on the more expensive model looks like, and those look stellar, so we'll just say that these look really good. We have nickel frets. The ends are great. No sharp edges anywhere whatsoever. The leveling on the guitar was great, no issues there whatsoever as well. Now, when it comes to the neck shape itself, it's a C, and it is surprisingly thin considering that this is kind of a retro looking design. And if you know anything about me, you probably know already that I prefer a slightly thicker neck. Well, really, I prefer a thick neck, period. And so this is not my favorite neck in terms of the thickness. That being said, most guitar brands nowadays, most of the modern brands like Charvel and Schecter, etc., Ibanez, this is pretty much the same thickness they have on their standard line. So it's not a super shreddy neck. It's not a vintage neck. It's right in between. If I play a neck that's too thin, I get problems in my hands. They hurt. But this neck has never caused me any pain. So it's not so thin that it's a problem for me. I just would prefer a slightly thicker neck if I had the option. So overall, between the really pretty binding, the slightly larger nut width, the pretty inlays, and the really good fretwork, this has been an absolute joy to play. And in fact, I had to raise the action on this guitar because I got it down so surprisingly low. And I think part of the reason we can do that is because it's a fairly flat radius. So this isn't like a traditional 9.5-inch radius. It's a lot flatter, which is very comfortable. Now, when I went to purchase this guitar, as you may know already, one of the things that caught my eye is the heel joint. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to keep saying this throughout the review, but for the price of this guitar, to get a feature like this absolutely amazing heel joint, and the fact that D'Angelico puts this heel joint on guitars that are even cheaper than this one, we're going to talk a lot about that later, but point being, this is amazing. I mean, it just flows right into the body. As you get to the higher frets, you never feel yourself hitting anything. And then even the way that we have the change of the color from the wood color to the color of the body itself, it's just so clean and so well done. The back of the neck is a matte finish and it feels comfortable. Now, because of the fact that the heel joint is so nice, and because we basically have no lower horn, the upper fret access on this guitar is phenomenal. You can get all the way up there, you can play everything you need to play, and you never run into an issue with hitting the guitar. But another really important thing about this particular neck joint, and just the guitar as a whole, is that it's almost set up like a very modern shredder guitar, like I mentioned with the type of neck we have here as well. But even when we get up to these upper frets, the action still stays very, very low. And it's very comfortable to play even fast stuff in this upper region. And again, maybe I shouldn't have expected it to be hard to play up here, but just because of this retro looking body, like I keep saying, I thought I was going to have a more traditional neck, a more traditional string height, but this is very, very modern in terms of the way it feels from the back of the neck to the thickness and the string height, upper fret access, all of that stuff. So let's talk about the body. I'm a really big fan of offset guitars, and if you watch the channel, you probably heard me talk about this already multiple times, but keep in mind, most people who watch my videos have never seen any of my videos, so I have to explain for them. So the reason I like offset guitars is because I'm not super tall, but I'm 6 foot tall, and I do have super long arms. I have a long wingspan for my height. And so with certain guitars, when I have them on my lap and I have my arms on them, I just feel like I have a lot of slack in my body and I can't really feel comfortable on the guitar itself. When I have an offset guitar like this one, I just feel like I have more space to let my body relax on the instrument. And so I love offset designs in general, and I really do like this offset in particular. And this is the reason I like this offset. It's simply unique looking. You don't see this style of offset from any other company. It's not like a Jaguar. It's not like a Novo, which is another great offset, by the way, but it's unique. It's its own thing. And I just like having an instrument that feels unique. And even though it's an offset, we do have a very nice forearm contour. It's not too steep, but it's just comfortable enough. I love the forearm contour. And we have a little bit of a belly cut. So this does have a matte finish, as you can tell, and it's not picking up any glare because it's matte. Of course, we have this really nice pick guard. Man, just like the body is unique, the pick guard is unique. And it flows with the design, but it's not like anything you see on any other guitars. And I'll say it one final time. I'm not someone who has ever said to myself, I need to have a beautiful pickguard on my guitar. But just having this really pretty pickguard, it makes me happy. I look down, I see it, it matches the body. We have a multiple ply here on the edges. I don't sit here and stare at it like this, but when I look down, I notice it, and it makes me happy to see it. It, of course, matches the body of the guitar in terms of color. And then we have all of our electronics down in this region. Okay, so let's get to another one of my idiosyncrasies. When I play with my right hand, people have told me that I don't have the most pretty right hand technique because my hand, it goes all over the place. And so when I play a Strat, I really get annoyed because I'm hitting the switch all the time, I'm hitting the volume knob all the time, and I just feel like I'm cramped up with my right hand. Again, I also have fairly large hands, so there's a lot of hand to hit. Okay, on my favorite guitar that I had customized specifically for me, you can see I have all of the electronics down and away and out of the way of the hand position for me. And so I had this set up this way so that I'd never have to worry about hitting the controls. And then when we look at the Bob Weir guitar, we have a similar situation. All of the electronics are down and away, and I never have to worry about hitting them. But at the same time, they're still very easily accessible, right? I'm playing, I get to there very easily. It doesn't feel weird, it doesn't feel strange. It just feels like they're out of my way, which is where I want them to be anyway. Now, if you're someone who likes to do the whole pinky on the volume control, swell up, which is a beautiful sound, this guitar is not gonna work for you, but I never do that anyway. If I were to do it, I would use a volume pedal, and so I don't really care about that. Let's talk a little bit about the bridge. Here's the one thing that I didn't like about this guitar. It came with a traditional 6-screw bridge. I believe the deluxe version of this guitar has a more expensive version of the bridge, and I probably wouldn't have had to change that one. But I did feel like I needed to change the bridge because I do a lot of stuff with floating bridges. And so I have a Vega trem put here instead of the traditional bridge because I did not feel that that bridge was as good quality as the rest of the guitar, just being honest. If you're not someone who does a lot of stuff with the whammy bar, you won't need to change the bridge because in terms of tuning stability, it was totally fine. It's just that for me personally, I do a lot of work here, so I needed something different. Of course, you don't have to go with a Vega trem. You can just go with a different 6-screw design by Godo or by Wilkinson, and I think those will be better than what comes on the guitar stock. Now, let's talk about something that I didn't have to worry about changing, and that was these pickups. More about things that I don't like about other brands of guitars. I'm not a fan of the Strat style layout on a guitar. I don't like 3 single coil pickups. I don't even like the Super Strat when it comes to a single coil, and the humbucker, the HSS design. Not a fan of it. That's why on my custom guitar, I have a humbucker, single humbucker configuration. So I do like 3 pickups, but I don't like a single coil pickup in the neck position in particular. In fact, that's the part I hate about it the most. I like the single coil in the middle. I even like a single coil in the bridge. I don't like a single coil in the neck. And so that's something else that made me attracted to this guitar because I never had a guitar that had 2 P90s, but then also a single coil in the middle position. And these are Seymour Duncan pickups. They're very, very high quality, and I really like the way they sound. In fact, if you've been watching the channel, you know that I've been playing this guitar for a lot of covers and for a lot of different things, and it just makes me happy because these pickups sound really, really good. And here's the amazing feature about these pickups. Both P90s are basically in hum canceling mode. So if you're just on the neck position, no hum comes from this P90 pickup. However, if you want it to have a traditional P90 sound with all of the hum, we have a push-pull right here that we can pull up. And then we get this neck pickup without the hum canceling. The same thing applies to the bridge pickup. If you want the bridge pickup normal, you leave it normal and it does not hum. If you want the hum for some reason and that traditional P90 sound, and it does sound very different, we pop that volume control. We pop the tone control. And then we have the full hum P90 traditional sound. And so we have a 5-way switch here. and it works exactly like you would expect it to work. Now, one thing I should also mention about these electronics and the way the pickup switch works, when we're in positions 2 and 4, we do get a little bit of hum because the P90 with its dummy coil along with the middle pickup together, though that's not a hum canceling mode. So in positions 2 and 4, there is a little bit of hum. And honestly, even as someone who hates hum, it doesn't bother me at all. But you'll notice we have one more control here, and that's because this control is a blender knob for the bridge pickup. So if I'm in the neck pickup or in the neck and middle position, I can use this blender knob to start to add in some of that bridge pickup. So I talked about the fact that I don't like the Strat layout with 3 single coils or even 2 single coils and a humbucker. And I talk about the fact that my main guitar has just humbuckers in the neck and bridge with the single coil in the middle. This guitar has been a revelation because I really enjoy the P90s. And I would have initially thought that I wouldn't like them with this layout because I thought they might be too similar to a regular single coil pickup like in a Strat. But I gotta tell you, they're just thick enough, just fat enough, just unique enough that it doesn't bug me like a Strat does in position with the neck or a Strat with 1 and 2. So these are just different enough for me to enjoy without it reminding me of a Strat. And just to say it one more time, if you look at my number 1 guitar, I have a very similar layout whereby I can add the bridge pickup at any position so that I can get basically all the same tones on this guitar. But keep in mind, I customized this guitar to do all of that stuff. This guitar does all of that stuff stock, out of the box, on a guitar you can buy from any Guitar Center or Sam Ash or whatever. So to have really great pickups on this guitar with that special hum canceling feature, with all of the tonal variety right there, and the ability to turn it into a hum pickup if you want a hum pickup, a regular P90 pickup, it's crazy. All of that, plus the neck joint on a guitar this price, it's astounding. Again, if you buy the deluxe version of this guitar, which is double the price, you're going to get better Seymour Duncan pickups, and you're going to get a Lawler pickup in the middle position. And I haven't tried that guitar because this one is so good. I considered getting one, but I can't imagine that guitar can be twice as good as this guitar because my other guitars, like this Novo, which is 4 times the price of this guitar, Even that one isn't twice as good. I do think the Nova is better, but it's not even twice as good. But I would like to try it because it does come with a better bridge out of the box, and it does have the gold hardware, which looks really, really pretty. In fact, on that guitar also, the back of the instrument, the different control cavities have coloring that matches the pickguard, so I think that's beautiful. I don't know. Maybe I will eventually get the more expensive version so I can try it, but to be completely honest, if I was making a recommendation, I would say just get this one, get a different bridge if you need to, and even then it's going to be a very, very affordable guitar compared to basically anything else on the market that has these features. And I have read online that some people have had issues with their finishes from D'Angelico, and to be completely honest, I don't know what that's about. Mine is absolutely fine. It doesn't chip, it's not splitting, nothing like that. And I even went to Guitar Center and picked up a few over there to check, and all of those finishes were fine. And so I can't really comment on that, but while we're talking about my trip to Guitar Center to check out D'Angelico, let me say one thing. I go to the Guitar Center whenever I want to check out the quality of a guitar as like a whole brand. Because the Guitar Center has always had really bad floor models. They don't do a good job of maintaining them. The Sam Ash around 34th Street, around that area, they do a beautiful job of maintaining their floor models of the guitars. But the Guitar Center, and I've always thought their floor models were never really good. So whenever I want to check out a guitar, I go there to see if the floor model is good. I have a good idea that the rest of their brand is probably at least that good, right? Because the floor models aren't good. In fact, I even picked up a Shure guitar at that Guitar Center. Even the Shure guitar wasn't in great shape. So I looked around, I picked up a bunch of D'Angelicos, I tried to find issues, and yes, I found one where the frets were a little bit pokey. But I picked up at least 4 or 5 and they were all fine. The action was fine, the necks were all fine, the paint was all fine. And so I feel like between this guitar and the few that I picked up there, for there to only be one that had a little bit of issue for this price range and considering floor models suck, I don't know. I can't tell you to rush out and buy a D'Angelico. I can't say that every D'Angelico guitar is this good, but in my experience, the quality has been really, really good. And throughout this review, I've been talking about the fact that I'm not someone who ever cares about looks, and I talked about how this guitar has made me, I don't know, it's made me look at looks a bit more. It even caused me to buy another D'Angelico guitar just because of the looks. You know what? I'm just going to show you that guitar. So as I was saying, that D'Angelico guitar was so beautiful. I started looking online at D'Angelico guitars obsessively, and I had to just buy this guitar partly because I just thought it looked beautiful and I was hoping that it would sound just as good, and it does. This is another D'Angelico I bought. And for those of you who don't know, I spent a lot of time studying jazz at university. I'm not a jazz guitarist. I don't play jazz, but I do love having an arch top. I do love playing arch tops and rhythm stuff. I find it really, really fun and satisfying. And so when I saw this guitar and I saw the price it was for, I absolutely had to buy it. And man, I was saying before, if you thought the headstock on the other one is gaudy, this one is even more intense because it's even bigger. And the iridescent logo is even more iridescent. The block inlays are even more shiny. This is a loud, honest, beautiful guitar. And I'm so happy that I bought it. And if we do some arch top stuff on the channel at some point, I haven't done anything like that yet because that's not what everyone wants to hear. But if we do, we're going to use this guitar probably. So yeah, for someone like me who again is kind of long, this really big 17-inch body, and it just sits on me personally really well. I love holding this guitar in my hands. The pickup sounds amazing. And on top of that, the neck itself is not too thick. Again, it's thinner than a standard arch top. It has a nice C shape, but it feels very modern, even though it's a vintage style of guitar. The one thing I do dislike is the volume and tone knob controls because, like I've been mentioning before, when I'm playing, I'm hitting them nonstop. And so down the line, I have a feeling that we're going to do some experiments with this guitar. I'm probably going to have these electronics changed to be the wheels underneath over here. And we might even carve a sound port into the side because it's hard to hear arch tops well as a player. But that's all a different thing for a different day. We'll get to that when we get to it. All right, so you heard me wax poetic about D'Angelico for God knows how long now. You saw the guitar that I haven't even shown on the channel yet. You see I have my coffee. This is a nice Ethiopian blend. Let's change up the camera angle and let's talk some more about the other guitars that D'Angelico offers. All right, so for those of you who watch the Guitarcraft and Other Stuff podcast, for those of you who subscribe to the Guitarcraft newsletter, you already know the vibe. When we're talking gear, we like to relax, chill out, and usually we have a nice fireplace we sit next to and talk. But since we have this nice blue theme today, I figured we sit by the beach and just talk about a little bit of gear. So right now I'm looking at the D'Angelico website, and I just want to talk about a few of the different guitars and why I think this is just a really cool, underlooked brand. So the first thing I want to do is just give you an overview of the different models that D'Angelico offers. And the reason I'm starting here is because I love how clean and clear it is. There aren't a billion models with a bunch of different product names. It's very easy to understand. We go to our guitars tab and we see there are hollow bodies, semi-hollows, solid bodies, and acoustics. For today, we're just going to skip acoustics. So right now I'm on their solid body side. And a few people have asked me recently, actually, do I play baritone guitars? And I haven't historically, but I might in the future. And D'Angelico has baritones as well. So just keep that in mind. But we see all of these really nice, unique models. We see the really nice headstock with the gold hardware, the beautiful inlays, this very unique single cut design. And even the volume tone knobs, I'll just click on this one so we can look closer. The stock volume tone knobs are really pretty. And they have that Empire State Building or whatever skyscraper building look to them, right? These are not standard volume knobs. You get the point. This is a beautiful guitar. In this case, it's a baritone. And it's $1,700 for this model with this nice hardware. That being said, a lot of these guitars have a less expensive model as well. So we'll look at those too. Here's another example. This is the Bedford model, just like my Bob Ware Bedford that we've been talking about today. And so this is the deluxe model. And as a result, it is $1,700. All of these lovely colors, gold hardware, all of that stuff. But we also have the Premier model of this guitar. And the Premier model is $900. So for this unique offset design, the beautiful headstock, the absolutely amazing hill joint, the good pickups, $900 I think is very fair for this design. But that being said, we go on Guitar Center right now and we have another Bedford model. This one has different pickups, these nice single coils, HSS configuration lipstick pickups, right? And similar guitar, except we have a little bit of a hollow body. I believe this has a center block. Yes, it has a center block because it has a bridge, of course. So center block, a semi-hollow design. And this guitar is on sale right now for $600. $600, nice pickups, semi-hollow, offset guitar, amazing hill joint. And this is what I mean about this brand. People are sleeping on D'Angelico. They're just not paying attention. No one's talking about it. None of the big guitar YouTubers are talking about this brand extensively. And I think it's absolutely criminal. It's a shame because I think a lot of people could be getting a lot of great value from these instruments. We talk a lot about mod guitars in the guitar community. We look for a decent guitar with a nice body, nice neck, and that we can change the pickups and the hardware on. Well, I'm telling you, the pickups on this guitar, I've tried this particular guitar. I like the pickups a lot. They're high quality. I wouldn't even change them. So I wouldn't change the pickups on this guitar, but I would change the bridge. I might even throw in locking tuners. So you buy this for $600. throw on the $200 bridge, throw on some locking tuners, and we're talking about under $1,000, you have an amazing guitar, again, with this neck joint, with this unique design. People are really sleeping on the Angelico. Let's look at a couple of more of these solid body designs. They don't have a lot of different solid body designs, but they have just enough to keep you interested, right? So we just looked at this one, of course, and now we have the double cut design. And look at that. Nice double cut, unique pick guard. It doesn't look like every single other guitar. And again, the pickups are going to be good. Great, great guitars. I really like the color of this one in particular. That baby blue color with the P90s, very, very unique looking. And then, of course, in addition to all of these solid body guitars, we have semi-hollow guitars. So we have our nice semi-hollow like this. Really, really stunning. The traditional volume, two-tone. Our traditional bridge right here with the F-holes. Gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful guitar. We have a similar guitar but with P90s. Another baritone. And we even have this nice, 335-esque design. And then we have the Mini DC. The Mini DC, as the name suggests, is just like the DC, except the body is smaller. So for those of you who don't like the big body of a 335 style guitar, you have a Mini option. I love a big body, so I'd probably use this one myself, but there is so much beautiful attention to detail. I mean, look at the back of that neck, the nice stripe down the middle. Look at the beautiful gloss back on the headstock. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Gorgeous. Let's look at this one because 335 guitars are generally very, very expensive. So let's go to the Premier model. We're going to have these pickups. Again, looks very unique, looks very pretty. This, we have the more traditional layout. If you ever had a 335, you know this is where the strap button goes. Fine. But when we look at the front of the guitar, we have a unique D'Angelico pick guard with the double binding, all of that stuff. And this one is $900. Guys, if this guitar is as good a quality as my solid body, I can't imagine you finding a better 335 style guitar for this price point. $900. That's I don't know what to say. Let's close this up. Let's look at some hollow bodies. I'm not a fan of Bigsby's, but if you like that vibe, look, if you're a rockabilly guy, how unique is this look? You got the P90s, you got the Bigsby, lovely F-holes. And listen, I'll say it again, I'm not this thing. I'm not this type of player, but you can't tell me you wouldn't look unique. You can't tell me you wouldn't stand out with a guitar that looks like this if the quality is as good as my guitars, which I'm assuming it is. Similar thing here, right? Hollow body design, very, very nice. We can see the wood on that one, P90s, lovely. Now, this is the model that I have, the Excel model. And I believe mine is from a couple of years ago, so it looks a little bit different. But I can tell you the quality of this guitar is very, very good. It's an archtop guitar. And so, of course, once we get into things like acoustics and archtops, the level of skill it takes to make a very, very high-end archtop is different. A high-end archtop can easily be $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. That's just the way that type of guitar goes. And so, is this going to compare to a $15,000 handmade archtop guitar from a famous luthier in America or in France or whatever? No, of course not. That's not what we're looking at here. But for under $2,000, this is $1,500 on the website. I got mine for $1,000, and I've played a lot of archtops over the years, especially when I was in my undergraduate degree. I played Ibanez archtops, I played Epiphone archtops, I played Eastman archtops, because that's what you do when you're getting a degree in music and you're studying jazz guitar, whatever. This guitar, for the price, is absolutely amazing. The finish is beautiful. It sounds good enough. The pickup is amazing. Listen, man, you don't like the black. The black is a little bit too much for you. I get it. Get yourself a natural finish. This is more like the Joe Pass type colorway, right? Or if you really want, you get a nice sunburst. Like this one. Cherry Burst. Sunburst. Oh, in fact, we can even get it a little bit cheaper. Now we're talking $1,100, which means you're going to find this used for $800 easy. And man, if you told me when I was an undergraduate degree that I can get this, look at the flame on the back of this guitar. I can get this for $800. I mean, come on. We have to remember that this is a fully hollow body design. There's no holes in the body here. This pickup is floating, meaning it's not carved into the body. So to get a full arch top like this, without any holes in it, that has a nice acoustic sound, with a little bit of a flame on the back, for under $1,000, I mean, come on, guys. If you know anything about arch tops, you know that's an amazing deal. Now, here's the last thing I want to say about this before we wrap up. I honestly don't know a lot about the difference between the Premier and the Excel model. I know one is made in one part of Asia, the Excel is made in a different part of Asia, but they're both made overseas. I don't know how much that matters. I just know that the Excel models generally look a little bit better. They'll give you gold hardware. They'll give you a nicer bridge. They'll give you more expensive pickups. But if you're using this as a mod guitar, I want to say that the standard cheaper model is probably just as good as quality, right? Because again, I have the cheaper model that I reviewed for you today, and that quality was absolutely stellar for the price. I said it over and over. Out of all the guitars I bought in 2022, it's the only one that I'm keeping, I think. I'm pretty sure it's the only one that I'm keeping. And I had $4,000 guitars here. You've seen them. You see me review them. So, man, if you're looking for a mod guitar that's neck through or set neck, I don't know which one this is, whatever. If you're looking for a mod guitar with an amazing heel joint and you want to stay under $1,000, I feel like you can't beat this brand. At least not right now, not in 2022. No one has beat this guitar. No one has beat this brand in 2022, period. By the way, I'm Andre Flood. Subscribe to the podcast if you like these conversations. Subscribe to the newsletter if you want to hear more about my thoughts about playing and all of that stuff. And I'll talk to you soon.